So, Tony, how did the project come about?
I suppose it's true to say that although all genres of photography interest me, my focus has tended to be on fine art black and white portrait photography, where in my images I try to bring out something of the character of the individual. But my attention recently was drawn to the work of those famous Hollywood stills photographers of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. They created attractive images of white handsome men and beautiful white women to promote those early Hollywood films. Their images gave an illusion of beauty, and it was an illusion really. After all, behind the scenes, these were real people with the same issues and problems that all people experience. I researched the work of many of these famous Hollywood photographers, their lighting and their posing techniques. I decided that my project would challenge some of those early images that some people might say perhaps were, well, stereotypical images of that Hollywood era, and challenge them with images that were more representative of today's more diverse and multicultural society. Hence, my project became Identities Obscura, through this book exploring identity and representation of the self-image.
So, what was it like undertaking the project? Were there any problems?
I prefer to think of problems more as challenges. I think there were three looking back. Firstly, the need to get suitable people to be photographed for the project and who exhibited the multiculturalism and diversity persona that I wanted to show. To find them and to feel confident about approaching them. Well, this is Curly from the Yemen. I was drawn to his appearance and character initially, and I decided to approach him. However, he was about to get married, but he kindly gave me time and came into the studio for the shoot. Fumi Keller is from Lagos, Nigeria, and had only been in the UK for 3 weeks when I approached her, and had probably not done a photo shoot quite like this before. I felt here we were creating some of the elements of Cindy Sherman's untitled film series, perhaps. Gladys from Martinique in the Caribbean was here on a one-year student exchange program. I was so pleased she agreed to be part of the project, and one of the images we created was the image that we used for the cover of the photo book. Well, I found I was achieving the multiculturalism element of my project, and Tom, who wears makeup and jewellery, exhibits diversity. So, fortunately, I soon felt I was introducing a wide range of subjects into the project. It was progressing. I think the second challenge was getting the right lighting in the studio. Photographer Ian Clark had a great input here on some of the early shoots when it came to reorganizing the lighting in the studio from this usual high key set to low key, as well Ian can work out the complex mathematical ratios of lighting in his head, whereas I need to use pen and paper. And that enabled me to concentrate on building the relationship and rapport with the subjects and getting the posing right on each shoot. I think the third challenge was how to select the final 20 images for my photo book from the 21 studio shoots and some 2,500 images taken. However, it was great to have the opportunity to choose that final portfolio from so many contact sheets and feel that all the effort had been worthwhile in the end.
So, what are you trying to communicate in your images?
I hope I'm communicating images that are more representative of today's society. But in terms of what the viewer interprets from each image, I want the viewer to make their own interpretation. I want the viewer to question what they see. I want the viewer to draw their own conclusions from what they see, not to be influenced by what I might think, say, or what I might have intended. However, I will add that I think these images probably fall into three main categories. Firstly, what I would call conventional portraits. Secondly, images where I'm using the concept of mirroring. When we look in the mirror, what do we see? Do we see who we really are? Do we see who we want to be? And thirdly, images that embrace the concept of doubling. That is the suggestion of perhaps another presence, be that the same person or a different person, as we see in these images of Savannah.
And finally, Tony, what have you learnt from this project?
I think the one key thing I've learned is to think outside the box. That is, thinking imaginatively using new ideas instead of traditional or expected ideas, thinking more creatively and freely and taking a new perspective on things. This final image of Charlotte, both inside the mirror and outside the mirror, and with myself, the camera, and the set inside the mirror, is a million miles away from perhaps the type of photography I was used to doing at the start of this project. This project has taken me outside my comfort zone, and for that I'm glad. I think it has also achieved my goal of challenging those Hollywood-style images by introducing the concepts of multiculturalism and diversity into the project. My thanks to everyone.